guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress. So guys, this is very easy to make. So I'm going to start with the bottom. It depends on you. You can make a full circle or you can use half a circle. So I'm going to be using half a circle for mine, right? So we already know if you want, you can do half a circle into two, right? Use one of it in front and one of it at the back. So how you're going to do that is basically your waist measurement. You can do let's say your waist is 30, divided by 2, half in front, half at the back, right? So 15 in front, you can do that 15 divided by 3.14, right? And then use that as how, like, the measurement to cut the skirt, and then cut another one and use it for the back. That's how you can do it. But for mine, I'm going to be cutting everything once. So how I'm going to do that is I folded my fabric into two. So guys, you see the fabric is folded. So what I'm going to do is, the way it's folded now, this is the part with the fold here. I'm going to tilt it over again, right? Just fold it one more time like this in form of an angle. This will help me better cut my half circle that I need. So what we're going to do now is, it depends on the length of the dress you're working with. So my dress length is going to be mid calf, right? And then my half length is 17. My shoulder to my waist is 17. So I'm going to subtract the 17 from the full length of the dress length I'm working with is 47. So I'm going to subtract this from this, is going to be 30. So that means the skirt part is going to be 30 inches, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is my waist measurement. So whatever your waist is, add 2 inches to it. So let's say my waist is 36, right? I'm going to add 2 inches to it, and then that is going to be 38. So whatever your waist is, add 2 inches. So let's say I'm working with 38. What you're going to do is divided by 3.14, right? And then I'll have about 12.1. So that 12.1 now, I'm going to go ahead and insert it here. The 2 inches I added is just for your zipper allowance at the back, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to mark the 12 inches here all the way around like this. So guys, once you've marked the first measurement, the next measurement you're going to insert here is the length you want the skirt to be. So from this point now, we've marked the waist. Whatever you got, this is the waist part. So from this point now, we're going to insert the length of the skirt. So let's say my skirt plus the seam allowance and everything is about 27, which is here. Right, so I'm going to take up my tape again and then add up everything to that point that I marked initially, which is 39. And then I'm going to put my tape again and mark 39 all the way around. That is what you're seeing right now, right? So this is the body of my skirt from this point to this point. So I'm going to go ahead, cut here and then cut there. So guys, this is what I cut out for the skirt. As you can see, this is the skirt. If I open it up now, you'll see what it looks like. So this is the body of the skirt here. So I'll set it aside so we can cut the bodice. So guys, you see, the next thing I did is to mark my shoulder to waist plus 1 inch, right? And then after that, I'm just going to draw in my basic bodice. Shoulder divided by 2, 8. Guys, if you want, you can use a princess dart. The whole point of this video is just me showing you guys how to mark, how to add that flounce to it, right? So after that, I'm going to mark from my shoulder to my armhole. But first, you're going to come down 1 inch of shoulder slope, right? And then insert your sleeve armhole length, which you're going to get by dividing your bust by 6 plus 1.5. So mine should be somewhere here now. After that, on this same line, I'm going to go ahead and mark my bust divided by 4 plus 1 inch. Okay. And then come down to this point and mark my waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches. 1 inch of darting, 1 inch of seam allowance, and then go ahead and correct it. That's basically it. Give it a curve here, just like this. And then come in here, mark my neck line 3, and then connect the shoulder slope. So guys, I'm going to go from here, cut this out all the way out to this point. Guys, once this is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark. Like I said, you see, I went ahead and also cut out the back panel. The back panel is exactly what we cut out for the front, except we have extra 1.5 for your zipper here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is that 3 inches of neck width that I marked. I'm going to first mark 1 inch for the back, connect it, and then mark like 3 inches or so for the front, or you can do 3.5 depending on you. 3 inches is okay because the neck is quite high. Once that is done, go ahead and cut it out. And then I'm also going to cut the front alone. You see, I raised it up now. Once it's done, the same thing, the armhole, I'm going to chip off a little from here, about 1/2 inch. So from this point to this point, halfway through, come in like 1/2 inch in here, connect it to this point, connect it straight up. So I'm going to cut this off just for the front is where I'm going to do this, just so my sleeve will relax better. So guys, once it's done, another thing that I'm going to do is the dart, right? Remember, we're still doing just the basic bodice. So from my front panel here, I'm going to divide my bust by my nipple to nipple by 2 plus 1/2 inch. Mark that here. So that's going to be 4.5. Mark it, bring up the straight line up here, and then I'm going to mark 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch on this side, connect it to this point like this. And then my dart is going to stop just where my shoulder to my bust, my shoulder to nipple is at 12. Under bust is where my dart is going to stop, which is 1 inch below. Sorry, my dart is going to stop 1 inch below my nipple line, which is 13. So this is where my dart is going to stop. The one for the back is still the same point here, but it's going to stop at the chest line. It's going to go all the way up to this point. So let me go ahead and notch it so that I know that this is the point for the dart. See, I went ahead and notched this here. So let me remove the front, and then for the back, what I'll do is that I'm going to go up 1 inch from the center back. This is just so your back is not dropping, like the flare will not drop. It's just right on your waist, because the center back, the length of your back is shorter than the length of the front, right? So I'm going to connect it all the way to the side, blend it all the way to the side. I need to know where my dart is, so let me just mark this line. So I'm going to cut this off. That's the only change I made to the back, right? So now the next thing is going to be the sleeve and then the flounce. So guys, this is the sleeve here. So you see my fabric is folded into 2. I'm also going to take it, fold it again. I'm not going to be making mine as long as her own. I don't want long sleeve, the weather is too hot, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make mine at least 18 or so, somewhere here, like here. So then the width I have here is about 11.5, right? So your armhole divided by 2 plus like extra 1.5 inches. Then from there, I'm going to come down here 4 inches, rule a straight line, connect it from this point here to this point, halfway through, mark a line there, give it a curve below like this, and then a curve above. This is my sleeve, right? And once it's done, the next thing is from my shoulder to my elbow. Mark that line, and then on that point you're going to put in your measurement, whatever it is, plus 1 inch, and then measure what you're supposed to have here, whatever it is, plus 1 inch also, and then connect it from this point here to here, and then from here all the way out. So now you're going to cut from this point out and then all the way. So guys, this is what I have as my sleeve. I've cut off here, cut this off, right? So now the next thing is going to be where I'm going to put in my flounce and how I'm going to be cutting the flounce. So guys, you see, I just joined the shoulder, added my dart. The first thing I did here is to measure from my shoulder to where I want it to be. Like I put mine at the point from my shoulder to where you start to feel the softness on top of the bust, right? Just that point is where I wanted mine to be. So mine is at 7 here, right? But at the center part here, I brought it down at least 7.5. So mine is going to go this direction from this part here, come down a little bit, and then I took it up a little to 6.5 somewhere here. So you see what I did? I did 6.5 here, 7 inches at the tip of the shoulder at this point, and then 7.5 here. So it's going to go almost like a sweetheart across. But if you want, you can just keep yours straight, it doesn't matter. But I wanted to try something different with my own, so that's why my line is looking like it's coming up here, going down here, and then going back up again. And then from the point, the next thing I did was just to place this here, right? Just place it as if I'm going to sew it in, and figure out where the line connects to the shoulder, which is here. And then I ruled a straight line going down from that point. I did the same thing on this other side. That's why you need to join the shoulder, so you know the exact point. The same thing here, put it as if I'm going to sew it, figure out where my line is going to connect here on the dot, right, like this, and then rule a straight line down. So now the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead and cut out my flounce. So to cut out your flounce, you can cut everything once, guys, it doesn't matter, or if you want, you can cut it separately. So the first thing I'm going to do, you can place your tape like this and measure out the line you have here. So for me, that should be about, let's say 16. I'm going to use the entire thing. So from this point to this point, I have 16 inches, right? So that's 16. What you're going to do, I'm going to be cutting it as a full circle. So I'm going to divide that 16 by by 6.28, because I'm cutting it as a full circle, and I'm cutting two of it once. So this is what I did. As you see, this fabric is on a fold, right? What I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to also I want to know the front and the back, so that's why I'm marking this chalk. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fold it again. It's already folded now. I'm going to fold it the second time, sorry, the third time. Fold it again, right? I'm just going to cut as many as I would need, as I can cut, and then I can always join it later. So like I said, the length I got for the first part I'm going to be sewing is 16. So that's 16. I'm going to divide it by 6.28. This is a constant to cut a full circle. I didn't want to do half a circle, because half a circle won't give me enough flounce. I want full circle, so that's why I'm doing 6. If you want, you can even add more to it and do something wider than this, right? Like wider than that, and then add a gather to it, gather it a little bit. But I'm just going to use 16 divided by 6.28. So guys, that is going to be about 5.6. So sorry, 2.6. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that here, and then I'm going to just mark it all the way around like this, all the way to this other end. It depends on you, the length you want your flounce to be. So mine is going to be at least, like, once I take away my seam allowance and everything, I might be left with 3.5. I wish I could make this longer, because I feel like this is not enough. It might make it hang. But if ideally, I would have loved mine to be at least 4.5. I would have loved it to be longer than this. So I might just use this one for the sleeve, and then make a different one for the front. But let's just cut it. So 5 inches is what I have here. So I'm going to just go ahead, add the full length together, right? And then I'm going to mark it. So total of 8 inches. So I'm going to just use that 8 inches to mark all the way around like this, because I'm sure that this is also 8. So once it's done, you can go ahead and cut it out. So I'm going to go ahead, cut this part and cut this part. So guys, this is what I have here. You see, I'm going to go ahead and open it on one side. This is what you would have. So I'm going to go ahead and open it. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm going to take it this way, and then you're going to, you see why I said I wanted to make it a full circle, because I wanted this, all this, I wanted this here. So now, because if I close it, you see, is a full circle, is a full circle, right? But if I made half a circle, it would have been one piece of this, and opening it, this is what I will have. It's not much play, you understand? So I wanted a full circle like this. So what I'm going to do is, that line that I ruled here, let me open it up again. You see the way it is now. If I'm going to be joining this here, what I'm going to do first is take this piece to the sewing machine. I'm going to take it, so close this end here, fold it, and then go ahead and fold the edge all the way to the end. Once it's done, I'm then going to take this here, sew it this way. This way is like, the wrong side is facing me, the right side is facing the inside, is facing this other side. Just take a straight stitch, but you're going to stop half an inch before you get to this part, because you need to leave room, because you're going to be sewing your sleeve here. You understand? You're not going to join this thing. This is my armhole. I'm not going to start from this top, this edge here. That's why I said before you even go ahead to join this, you also have to hem this end here. Hem the end of this cloth. It will look something like this. Then you take it, before you get to the end, leave room for your sleeve, the part where you're going to join your sleeve, and then follow that line that you ruled here. Use 1/2 inch to join it all the way down here. If you want, you can add a little gather to yours as you're going down, and once you're done, it's going to flow over like this. Leave it to drop over on top like this. The same thing goes for the sleeve. 1/2 inch before you get to this end here, 1/2 inch before you get to the other end here. The line in between, you're going to take your flounce just like that, just like this, making sure that the right side is facing the cloth. The right side is here, the wrong side is the one that you're going to face up, and then make a straight stitch. You've already folded this end too, right? And you're going to start 1/2 inch before the end here. You folded this edge here, and then you sew it down, following that line all the way. Before you get to this other end here, fold it 1/2 inch, fold, hem the edge again, and once you're done, it's going to fall over like this. If you want, you can also go ahead and top stitch it. That way it just lays down. Guys, you can't, you don't have to use all up to 1/2 inch here, because if you use 1/2 inch here, it might be a lot of fabric underneath, and when the wind blows, it will show. Just use maybe 1/4 inch to join this here, like this. You know, normally you would have used something like this much to sew it. Maybe use like half of that to attach it to it. But if you notice that your fabric is a kind of fabric that it's going to rip easily, and like the thread runs easily, you can still use your 1/2 inch, and just so you avoid that, instead just hem the edge before you do that, and make your flounce longer. Make your flounce longer, that way it will cover it even more. You understand? Just make your flounce longer, because if it's shorter, the chances of wind blowing it up is higher. But if the flounce is like, let's say, like I said, 4.5, instead of like how my own will end up being like 3 inches, it more chances of covering it. You understand? So now I'm going to go ahead. So when you go to join it, this is how you're going to join it. This is my line here. I don't know if you guys can see. This is my line here. All I have to do is just go to the sewing machine, take it this way, and then I already know this side, and I know that this side is going to this side of the sleeve. You can't make that mistake. Once you decide and you've already ruled your line, know that this is this part of this shoulder, this other one is this part of this shoulder, and at this edge here, at this particular edge here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to add like a pleat, or gather it a little bit at this point here, so that it will not be noticeable that this part here doesn't continue going on into this other side of the sleeve. And I'll do the same thing on the sleeve. So at this part where it's starting, I'm going to add more pleats to it. That way it has more fabric towards this end here, because I've been trying to figure out how this was made, but whenever I watch the video, I watch them raise their hand, you see that it's actually you see where this part ends and where this one starts. It's not like a continuous seam going into this part of the cloth, right? So I've seen several videos of the cloth. That's how I was able to figure out that you have to join it separately on the sleeve, separately on the top. But to do that, try to make the flame more. The whole thing is make it more towards this part. Like, just give it one pleat more. It already has flounce, so it will cover, but just in case, give it one pleat on this side, give it one pleat on this side, and also on the sleeve at the beginning, give it like one pleat, like one gather at this point, and then continue your stitch all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and do mine. Join the top. Once you do that, close up the armhole, come to the end, attach your bottom part, put in your bias and add your zip. That's basically how you do it. So let me go ahead and do mine. So guys, you see mine is ready. Guys, the whole point of this video is to show you how to get this done, right? You see what I was saying? Once you give it that one pleat by this end here, it will definitely cover. Don't mind that my own is not the same length. We all saw when I decided to add add few inches to the center part, right? So the first ones I cut, I used for the sleeve. That's why it's slightly shorter, but I would in your own try to make everything the same length. Once you decide on the length you want to use it for just the sleeve and the body too. So you see, and then another thing I would change is that when you're marking your line, another thing you can do is, instead of keeping your hand straight, you can direct it towards this. Like, instead of going straight like this, just make it go up a little bit more. If you want it to go on top of your arm like this, or if you want, you can still keep your hand straight, it doesn't matter. But if you want this flare to show even more, you can bring it up like this instead of going straight down like what your arm would. This is the straight line, right? But instead of maintaining the straight line, you can just go up maybe 1 inch away from the straight line. That way it will bring up your flare even more, because remember, once you bring down your hand, it's no longer going to be straight. But once your hand is up, it can show. And then the bottom part, guys, I know you will be thinking, it depends on you what you want to use for the bottom. You can use gather, you can use flare. Like I said, I used half a circle. The one on the thumbnail, you see that one of them used half a circle, but the other 2 pictures, you see that they used full circle. So you can do a full circle for the bottom part. That way you have more flare. But I decided to do half a circle because I don't have that much fabric to go with. But guys, I really like this style. And yeah, so this is the back. Once you add this here, you see where my O separates. This is the half an inch I used to join the side. You can't even tell because once I sew the sleeve, it doesn't show anymore. So this is it here, and then this is the back of the dress. I really like how it turned out here. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. I beg. Bye.